love the chase and the hunt, and I set the pace when I'm running. I always take what I want and I always give it 100. Don't need a bank, no I'm funded. Play the game like it's nothing. I'm always thankful for something. Don't take for granted, stay humble. Now wake up! It's time to look at the enemy. Look in the mirror if he is no friend to me. It's not working out, maybe it's the chemistry. It's time to break up so I can make a better.
All right, welcome to the Fantasy Six Pack 2022 Fantasy Football Team Previews. We're going to be covering the Jacksonville Jaguars, and with me doing this is Mr. Dave Eddy. Let's just jump right into things, shall we?
Let's go.
So, starting off here with the quarterbacks, and we've got college phenom Trevor Lawrence, who didn't quite have the rookie season I think anybody was expecting, but hopefully greener pastures are ahead now that new coaching staff is in town. Overall ranking over on Fantasy Pros of 131, QB 19. His backup is CJ Beathard. I mean, look, in drafts, right, he's going right around where you get guys like Matt Ryan, Jameis Winston.
Yep, Tannehill, Tua.
Are you taking Lawrence ahead of those guys, hoping that like we get the breakout from him that I think a lot of people thought we might get even his rookie season?
Joe, you're damn right I am. I love Trevor Lawrence. I mean, especially for a redraft, I would draft him, and I know this might be, I don't know if this is a hot take or not, you tell me. I would be okay with taking him as my QB1.
That's a little rich. All right.
I'm just saying.
Mark it down.
I'm not saying that's my target, but if my draft falls to where, the guys that are ahead of him, I mean, we're talking, like I said, if I just start working my way from ADP up, Justin Fields, Tua, Kirk Cousins, Derek Carr, Trey Lance, I'm cool with Trevor Lawrence over all of those guys if it means I can pick up another better running back, get a good tight end, get another receiver.
Yeah. I'm
okay with that. I think Trevor Lawrence is a generational talent. I think last season was more of an Urban Meyer problem than a Trevor Lawrence problem. I mean, I'm being honest.
No, I'm 100% agreeing with you, man. That was a blank show, dude.
He had an app. I mean, you couldn't have. Even if you would have said, hey, what do you think the worst case scenario for Trevor Lawrence is? You wouldn't have thought that this is what you were going to see last year. And so I think that he is going to be a humongous bounce back. I'm not saying he's going to be a top 5 quarterback, not next year. But I would take, if he was my QB1, I'm honestly I'm not upset about it.
Yeah, I think the worries for Lawrence with me still is they just haven't helped him in the offensive line. And I mean, you saw like deer in the headlights look from him pretty early on last season, and it didn't get much better. Again, new coaching staff hopefully just coaches the guys up that they have. But he's going to have to prove it to me, I think, before I'm ready to take the plunge on the QB1 level for him.
I will say, though, honestly, I think he's got a lot of really good targets to throw the ball to. I agree with you that the offensive line is not good.
It's awful.
I honestly am still floored that they did not take an offensive lineman in the first round. That was so obvious to me that you protect your franchise quarterback. To me, I don't even care if a guy like an Evan Neal was initially supposed to go there, early on in mocks. And even if you thought, that these pass rushers were much higher on your board, I feel like the health of Trevor Lawrence for your franchise takes precedence over all.
You trade down, go get a couple extra picks,
sure.
If
possible. Even if you were stuck at one, I would have still taken offensive lineman. But I don't know. I'm still super crazy, maybe high man in the room on Trevor Lawrence.
I mean, I hope you're right. I took him in my dynasty league in the first round last year because I needed a quarterback pretty bad because my quarterback is Carson Wentz. Not good. Not good. So, all right, let's move over here to running backs. And we've got Travis Etienne, overall 48, running back 24. James Robinson, who is coming off the injury at 103 and 40. Snoop Connor, Raquel Armstead, and Mekhi Sargent. I'm guessing it's what that actually is supposed to be. All right, so I mean, we unfortunately didn't get to see any of Etienne last year, and he's probably going to be the starting running back week 1, because I kind of doubt James Robinson is back in time. But what's your thoughts on Etienne this year in, like, say half PPR leagues? Because I just like to go down the middle.
I mean, I think for a guy like him specifically, there's a big difference between half PPR, full PPR, because I can see him and James Robinson sharing the field a lot, and I can see Etienne literally lining up in the slot, getting a bunch of short passes and seeing what they can do, a little bit of like what the Giants were doing with Kadarius Toney. Only he's also going to get touches in the backfield. If he's healthy, I think that he's a guy that I really like. He's got a good connection with Trevor Lawrence. Obviously, they played in college together. So I really think that this could be a guy like Trevor Lawrence that has quite a breakout. I think that his current position, running back 24, I don't think that that's a bad spot for him. I kind of wish he was going a little bit later, so I feel like I'm getting a better value. But still, at the end of the day, the spot where he's going, I still like him a little bit better than the guys that kind of surround him in that bubble of like,
100%.
5 higher, 5 lower. The ceiling is definitely ridiculous, especially like I said, in full PPR. This guy could be a top 10 running back if he stays healthy. Again, hot take, but it's the ceiling is there for him.
No, yeah, I'm a huge Travis Etienne fan. You're right, man. Like the overall isn't great, but running back 24, like if obviously running backs fly off the board early in drafts, and that's what we're seeing. So I mean, the guys that are going around him, you're spot on. Like I want Etienne over all of them.
Yeah, absolutely.
So let's move over here to the wide receivers, and a little bit of a new look. They signed Christian Kirk to a pretty hefty contract. They've still got Laviska Shenault, Marvin Jones, Zay Jones, Jamal Agnew, and Laquan Treadwell. Let's go to Christian Kirk here. And, I mean, is he the unquestioned number 1 there? Or, I mean, Marvin Jones is still pretty good. I think Shenault had a tremendously horrible season last year, probably for many of the same reasons why Trevor Lawrence had a horrible season last year. Urban Meyer. Yeah. So I mean, I think there's guys that could be the number. There's 3 guys that could be the number 1 receiver on this list. Do you think it'll be Kirk after the big contract he got?
I mean, his wallet says he should be the number 1 receiver, and I'm pretty sure it's going to be Shenault when all is said and done. Christian Kirk is not a number 1 wide receiver in the league. I don't know why they paid him the amount of money that they did.
Shocking.
I mean, maybe that's just what they needed to pay him to get him there. I think that him and Marvin Jones are probably going to finish the season somewhere in the same ballpark. I guess I'll give the nod to Kirk. But if I'm targeting any receiver here, for me personally, it's Shenault number 1. To be fair, Zay Jones would be my next target on this team. Now, I'm not saying listen.
No.
I'm not saying that I like him more than Kirk or Jones, but I'm saying at his price tag, I would much rather have Zay Jones if I got him at his ADP than Christian Kirk.
I mean, so this, I mean, I don't know his ADP. I don't have ADP pulled up, but that's not his ADP. That's his ranking. I mean, basically, you can not draft Zay Jones or take him in the last round, whatever you want to do. Like that's really deep for most leagues. You don't draft 318 players in most leagues. So
236 is his ADP right now.
So is it for Zay Jones?
So 12-team leagues, that's what, the 20th round?
Yeah. I mean,
I would take him in the 20th round before I'd take Kirk in the 10th.
I'm trying to think. So usually, I mean, you usually draft like 18 rounds. So he's still undrafted in most leagues. So again, I'm just saying.
I'm a fan of Zay Jones. I'm just telling you.
You're the Raiders front office.
Hey man, just saying.
Go get the speed. Nah. Yeah. I mean, I'm not really in love with any of these receivers. I'll be honest with you. I'll probably have shares of a couple of them. Shenault probably more than anybody. I'm with you on that one. Marvin Jones is, in my opinion, just a guy. He lived off Matt Stafford just chucking him the ball downfield.
Well, so I mean, as a Lions fan, what I can tell you about Marvin Jones is he scores touchdown in bunches. So he'll score 7 touchdowns in a season, and 3 of them will be in one game.
Yes, absolutely.
That's what he does. And he wasn't so hot last year, but he's viable. I mean,
the offense was just total garbage last year.
Yeah,
so.
I think they're going to be a lot better this year. I think.
Literally,
I think this team is going to go from one of the worst offenses in the league to probably league average, if not slightly better.
Which
I think Trevor Lawrence is going to take a huge corner.
Yeah. All right, let's finish things off here with our tight ends. And Evan Ingram comes to town. Overall ranking of 173, tight end 24. Dan Arnold, who I always liked, but they wanted to bring in Ingram instead. Why? I don't really know. Mr. Ingram drops a lot of passes. So,
when he's on the field.
Right. I mean, that being said, like, who do you think actually finishes as the higher scoring tight end between these two?
I mean, my heart says who cares? But at the end of the day, I mean, I don't know, man. Like, literally flip a coin, because Ingram is the superior talent. But yes. I don't know what what are you gonna get from him? Is he gonna play 5 games? Is he gonna play 3? Is he gonna play 12?
Yeah.
I don't know. If you told me that Evan Ingram was going to be fully healthy all season long, then I would take him all day long, and I would think, man, what a great steal. You've got all these targets at wide receiver. You got a good catching tight end. He's just proven that he won't stay healthy. So I just am not interested at any price.
Or catch half the passes that get thrown to him.
Yeah.
Yeah, look, I'll say this about Dan Arnold, man. I mean, last season he had some pretty nice games and some pretty high target showings here. 8, 10, 7, 8 again, 5s mixed in.
You got to remember, though, that was when their wide receiver core was down to guys bagging groceries from Kroger. You know what I mean? So you have to take it with a little bit of a grain of salt whenever he's one of the 3 guys getting targets. I mean, and the Jags were playing from behind. That's very inflated, is I guess all I'm saying. Like, don't expect to see any of that this year.
Well, but I mean, who was hurt? I mean, Jones played all 17 games. Shenault played 16.
Shark
was out, but okay.
I mean,
they still had their 2 primary guys. I
mean, Shark was their wide receiver 1.
Well, but I mean, okay, so they still had Jones and Shenault, who obviously are 2 guys this year, and then they're replacing him. Shark with Kirk, but yeah, I mean, I don't know. I've always thought Dan Arnold had potential, but it just maybe it's just not going to happen. But all right, well that's it for the Jaguars. I want to thank you all for tuning in and listening. Hit that subscribe button, leave those comments. We appreciate it, and tune in to the next one. Peace.